I want you to think about how many tabs you have open right now. And I'm not talking about your internet browser, I'm actually talking about in your head. We've all got very busy lives, there's a lot going on, a lot of moving pieces, totally understandable. But what in your mind that is keeping it occupied is really moving the needle on a day to day basis? It's been a question I've had on my mind for a while now, especially being so engulfed in this AI renaissance that the world is taking on. I feel like there's infinite information available to us, and there is infinite information available to us using the internet, AI, like I said, all these tools at our disposal. And it almost feels so overwhelming, right? It's recently occurred to me that despite all this information at our disposal, despite all these AI tools available to us now, the anxiety doesn't stem from all of that. It stems from a lack of action. Anxiety is what happens when you consume things without moving, without applying the knowledge and information you're receiving. All you have to do is take the next step, move, take action, do something with all this stuff that you're consuming. I finally realized that, starting a business using AI, you fall down this rabbit hole. And actually, I got on a phone call today with somebody. We were doing some cold calling, and he said the same exact thing. It was this roofing guy who unfortunately wasn't interested in our services. But I had a 25-minute phone call with this guy, which, if anybody knows anything about cold calling, you probably shouldn't waste 25 minutes on the phone with somebody. But we were having a really interesting conversation about AI, and he's very involved. He understands the tools, things of that nature. And he told me, he's like, dude, I feel so overwhelmed by everything. You know what I mean? He's trying to implement AI in his business. Unfortunately, we couldn't help him out, which happens, right? It's normal. But yeah, I said, I feel the same way. There's so much at our disposal. It's too much. Like, I feel like I'm falling behind because I'm not applying everything and using everything. But like I said, I've recently realized that it's not a matter of understanding all these tools and things like that. It's using whatever moves the needle for you. And this could apply to anything in life, right? I'm talking about AI and things like that because it's just relevant in my life, but it's very applicable in every aspect, right? Let's say somebody who's single, they want to meet somebody. You can go on the social media apps, you can think about ways to approach a guy or a girl, things like that. But if you don't actually do it, you're not taking the next step towards success and towards achieving your goals. Same thing with going to the gym, right? If I'm looking up workout routines, I'm buying nice clothes to look good in the gym and all this good stuff, but I'm not actually going to the gym and putting in the reps and being consistent, I'm not going to see results, right? When I think about our business and the things that have really moved the needle on a day to day basis and converted to growth, it's not researching the best tools to use for X, Y, or Z application. It's just getting on the phones and talking to people and selling our product. That's been the main needle mover. And you could do all that back end stuff. And it is important to an extent. You do have to do certain things, but what is going to propel you forward? The problem with intaking information and doing research and whatever it is it gives off the illusion that you're being productive. It creates a sensation of progress, but when you ultimately look back, you don't really see a massive change or growth in comparison to maybe what you were anticipating as a result of doing those things. The gap between what feels like work and what is actually work is where that anxiety lives. Because you feel like you should be somewhere and you're not there, and so you're in your head, you're thinking, what am I doing wrong type of thing. And the exact thing you're doing wrong is probably the thing you're avoiding. My mom recently, we were on the phone and she provided a quote to us talking about, where we're at and stuff in life. And she said, what's in the way is the way. The exact thing you're avoiding is the exact thing that you need to do right now. So I'm not going to dwell on this for much longer in the video, but let's take AI for example, right? The people who are going to be most successful using AI are not the ones who know the tools the best, know all the use cases, research them from A to Z, know them like the back of their hand. It's the people who are taking action using the tools, right? Yes, things are moving very quickly in that space, in that industry, but the more you do with them and the more you apply the tools and the knowledge that you're receiving, the better off you're going to be because you're in the field, you're in the space with it. There's ultimately a ceiling to how much information one can absorb. It's never ending, as I previously mentioned, which is a beautiful thing. As human beings, there's always room for growth. There's always room to learn more. But there's a point in which things start to become noise, right? And you need to be able to filter what is actually providing value to my life and what are just things that I know just because I know them. And it's good to be a generalist, maybe a jack of all trades and know things about history, science, literature, all this good stuff. These are important things, and this is culture. But ultimately, what's making you a better version of yourself at the end of the day? For example, I could start a business and spend months and years even researching competitors, learning about a specific industry, understanding the best tools to use for various applications, the best systems to implement and to streamline processes and make my day to day easier. But the person who started the same business and just started and went out and sold and did whatever they had to do is going to move much faster than I would if I were to just stay, like I said, balls deep in the computer and not actually doing things that progress me forward. You will learn tenfold, 100-fold, even more by doing things as opposed to intaking information and learning things. Anxiety, in relation to this, is the gap between who you are and who you think you should be. The problem is, the more information you consume, the more you see other people doing things that you should be doing, the wider that gap is going to be stretched. And then you ultimately end up in this state of paralysis where you feel like, one, either you're a failure, or two, the gap is too wide to close. I actually wrote a quote in my notebook a while ago and I was going to make a video about it, but it's applicable to this video, so I'm just going to talk about it. The quote was, "I can't move forward unless I'm sure it's going to work." And that is the worst mentality and mindset to be in. Nobody who created anything incredible and groundbreaking and revolutionizing for the world moved forward knowing it was going to work. That's never going to be the case. If you're building something, if you want to do something in life, there's always going to be that uncertainty. And that's what makes the things worth chasing that much more valuable. Action is the antidote. If you just take the next small step, I promise you that gap between who you are and who you think you should be is going to start closing, and you're going to see progress, you're going to see results. And it may not be pretty at first, it may not be perfect, but you're getting there. You're taking the right steps. So what do we do with this information, right? Now that we're self-aware of the fact that we're not where we want to be, we're taking in too much information, and we need to start moving. It's fair to say that people feel like there's so much to do in life and there's so little time. That's not a time problem, that's a focus problem. In the coming week, whether it be tomorrow, this weekend, the beginning of next week, pick 2 or 3 things that you know are genuinely going to move the needle. Things you've probably been avoiding, not things that feel productive, but things that push you to that next level, that next step, things that help you build what you want to build. And ignore everything else. Do the hard thing. A good practice: every day, wake up and think, what is one thing I can do today that's really going to propel me towards my goals? And I want you to think about it without a filter. Look at the grand scheme of your life and your goals and things you want to accomplish and say, no matter how difficult it may be, no matter how badly you don't want to do it, what is the thing, the one thing that's going to get you that much closer? And just execute, just do it. Because I promise you, when you stack enough of those days, you're going to create something real. And you're not going to see it right away, but it's a compound effect, right? It grows every single day. And one day you're going to wake up and you're going to say, holy shit, I did that. I did it. And it was so well worth it, no matter how difficult the challenge was that was in front of me 6 months ago, no matter how big the mountain looked 6 months ago, a year ago, whatever. I'm here now. And it was a result of that action I took despite not wanting to. Remember, just control the controllables. Yes, things are moving quickly, but if you keep moving, you can keep up, I promise. That information problem I was talking about is a story that you tell yourself so that you stay in that comfortable space and avoid the things that are going to allow you to grow. And yes, it sucks. And yes, it's hard. No, that is the whole point of it. Nobody who's achieved anything in life or accomplished big things or created big things has had a seamless road to success. It requires sacrifice. It requires doing the hard things. You just have to move and you will learn along the way. That's how life works. So like I said, think about that one thing in life that's got a grip on you and you know what it is. You know exactly what I'm talking about, and just go do it. Be informed, but take action ultimately. Even if it's not perfect, just go out there and get it done, and you'll see those little incremental shifts on a day-to-day basis. And one day you'll wake up and you'll have achieved something great.